VHS Hockey, Friday on 24 Hours.
The following is a special presentation of CBC Sports.
At this time of year, folks, don't blink or you'll miss something.
Draws A in full flight. To the side of the net, they score! McKinnon kept it into Pronger. The shot, he scores! It was tipped in, I believe, by Zezel. Here comes Sundin moving in. Schneider scores!
Whatever you do, don't blink.
On the boards, in his own zone. Now give away the Vancouver zone. He scores! Again, he sweeps it back to the point. Newman fires. He scores!
Whatever you do, don't blink.
And Reed breaks, has set a Wynnum 2-on-1 for Boston. Reed in front. Scored! Short-handed!
A former Senator has a chance to tie the game. Here he comes. Walks in. Shoots! Oh! What a save by Damian Rose! Koivu in on Billington. Score!
The playoffs are coming, folks. Don't blink.
We don't have to explain how big the games are becoming now. 9 days to the Stanley Cup playoffs and 3 early telecasts from the Molson Center, where it's the Panthers and Canadians, from the arena in Winnipeg, where it's Calgary against the Jets, and from Maple Leaf Gardens. As we said, don't blink when you come to the rink. The only sure thing in the standings is fresh ink. Little poetry for Easter. There's Ted Keenan, Mike Keenan's dad, sitting right by the bench. And I have to ask you, were you the one that kept him in line? I mean, he gets all his players big disciplinarian there.
Well, I certainly tried to bring him up that way and raise him right. That I guess he has a lot of the blue-collar worker, which I was. So hopefully that we'll have a win here tonight.
And say hi to your pal in Oshawa.
I want to say hi to my good pal Don Kearney, strong, diehard Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and a great buddy of Don Cherry's.
There you go, Ted. Good luck tonight.
Hey, you can see where he's a sharp dresser, just like Mike, or Mike's a sharp dresser like him. I think Mike
is here tonight. All the big names are out.
Yes, my brother and my nephew Stephen. There they are, right there, black belt in judo. And my nephew Stephen played for Queen's University. Look pretty good, don't they?
We're really out of time here, but I know you wanted to be in Winnipeg.
I want to be in Winnipeg. I'll tell you, Winnipeg, we'll be there in the playoffs. We all want to be there. We wish you the best of luck. The best fans in the world from Winnipeg.
No doubt about that. Well, the game that we're at, of course, is the Toronto Maple Leafs hosting St. Louis. It's huge. Toronto's had the edge during the year. This is the 6th meeting. Toronto's picked up 7 of 10, but from Mike Keenan's point of view, it's these injuries. Shane Corson, broken jaw.
Let me tell you something, though. They're all going to be back, and it's a blessing in disguise. Mike couldn't rest these guys like he can now. He's got the fires going in St. Louis. Don't bet against Mike Keenan and in the playoffs, because these guys are all going to be rested. There's Gretzky, or there's Fuhrer going in. Gretzky's gone. That's okay. They'll all be back, rested to go for the playoffs. Now here's Dougie Gilmour, gives him a little push. He comes down on his tailbone there, and that's what happens, but he'll be ready.
Okay, well, we wondered about that, so we went to Ted's son to get the latest from the health reports.
Well, the good news is that they'll be back this week later, probably around Thursday or Friday. Wayne has a deep bone bruise, and that will heal nicely. Brett starts skating tomorrow, and Shane has the wires cut off his jaw tomorrow as well. So the 3 of them will be back, I'd say, by the end of the week. Grant may be back as early as Monday. He's healed and come along a lot faster than we expected, so that's good news. And the role players we have out, Twist, who's a big part of our team, Pearson and Hudson, they should all be back by the end of the week as well.
So it's down the road for the Blues in terms of health. Big challenge for their youngsters here this evening. Calgary Flames have Gary Roberts out of the lineup, so to get that story and set up the Jets in Calgary, let's go to Scott O. Scott?
Ron, I know why you and Don would like to be here, because obviously stretch drive matchups don't come any bigger than this one between the Flames and the Jets. Calgary 2 points up on Winnipeg each with 5 games to go, so it's not a good time for the Flames to be without their leader, but Gary Roberts is out of the lineup tonight. The result of an aggravation of an old injury, the neck problem that forced him to miss the first 42 games of the season. The most recent damage done on this hit by Adrian Aucoin in the first period of the Flames' victory over Vancouver 3 nights ago. So now the rest of the Flames will have to pick up the slack. Steve Chason believes they can.
Well, I guess we're used to it. You know, we played almost the first half of the year without Gary, and I think our game started to come around just before Gary got back. No question, he's a big part of our team, but you know, that opens the door for other people, and hopefully somebody will pick up the slack tonight.
Well, to be sure, the resiliency of the Flames without their leader will be tested tonight against the Red Hot Jets, who've won 5 of their past 7 games. So a big matchup for viewers in the West, Calgary at Winnipeg. Ron, back to you.
You know, Scott, in every case, it's the home team tonight trying to leapfrog the visitor. 87 pointers collide at the Molson Center this evening. Florida and Montreal. Here's Steve Armitage with Brian Murray. Steve.
Thanks, Ron. Hi, everyone. For viewers in Quebec, this could be a playoff preview. Brian, you win this one tonight, you move ever so much closer to 4th place and the all-important home ice advantage in the East.
Well, Steve, number one, we just want to win. We haven't played that well lately. I want to see the guys really make a good effort and get a playoff spot secured, number one. Number two, obviously, we've got 4 games left after this one. Canadians 2. Gives us a great opportunity to move into 4th, as you mentioned, lock up the home ice, and I think that would be tremendously exciting in Florida.
Brian, good luck tonight.
Thanks, Dave.
Ron, back to you.
So there you have it. The Montreal Canadiens and the Florida Panthers, another of our early games. Game 2 this evening is from the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. The Kings are out, but the Vancouver Canucks have still plenty of say in all of this. Winnipeg, Toronto, and Montreal are the venues for games number 1, and we'll have that for you nationwide next on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
What a great party. Let's not forget introductions. This here is new Molson Ultra. Ultra, this here is the party. Get this. It's a new smooth 6.2% dry beer. Okay? Okay. Basically, you got a strong beer that doesn't feel like you're swallowing a small farm animal. That's my department. Molson Ultra, 6.2% dry. Wickedly smooth.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by new Molson Ultra, wickedly smooth beer. And by Ford of Canada, makers of the 1997 F-150, built for today's driving needs.
Listening to my edition of Hockey Rock, Winnipeg style at HMV Video. All proceeds to goal for Jets. I'm listening to Scott Oak, who's hosting, of course, the Flames and the Jets. Scott?
Thank you very much, Ron. Back now at the Winnipeg Arena for the Jets' second last ever regular season home game in this building. Doesn't that have a final and somewhat bitter ring to it? Brian Hayward had some great years in goal here for the Jets in the 80s. Joins us on our telecast tonight. Brian, when the Jets got Craig Janney at the trade deadline, Keith Tkachuk just went on fire. Mind you, he wasn't struggling that much before Janney got here. What about the Janney-Tkachuk combo?
Well, you know, there's obviously some terrific chemistry between the two players, and I don't think that should come as a surprise to anyone, because if you go back to Janney's heyday in Boston, he had probably the premier power forward in the league, Cam Neely, playing on a line. We all know how productive they were. Keith Tkachuk, he now fills a very similar role here in Winnipeg. He's probably now the premier power forward. Janney is the guy, he's the puck handler, of course. He's got Tkachuk driving to the net, and I don't think you can discount the efforts of Dallas Drake. Those 3 players in the last 7 games have chipped in for 18 goals, so that's better than 2.5 goals a game. They've been very productive as of late, very difficult to stop.
All right, Brian, you're going to head upstairs and join Don Whitman for the call of the game. Take my advice, do not take the elevator, run the 13 flights, you'll get there faster. Want to go ringside now for the national anthem.
Our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Danny Graves of the Watchmen singing the national anthem before a capacity crowd at the Winnipeg Arena, the second last regular season game on the 95-96 schedule. Rick Tabarachi, a winner over Vancouver, 4-3 on Wednesday night, getting the start in goal. Tabarachi, during his NHL career, played 61 games for the Winnipeg Jets. At the other end of the ice, it's Tabby at one end, Habby at the other. Nikolai Habby Bulin, who in the last 3 Winnipeg victories has been named star number 1. And the Jets are looking for Habby Bulin to continue the hot play over the final 5 games. Paul Stewart is the referee tonight. Mark Weller and Jay Shires are the linesmen. The Winnipeg Jets with Craig Janney centering Tkachuk and Drake, facing off against Sullivan. He's between Titov and Fleury. Dumped into the Calgary zone. Chason goes back after it, being watched by Tkachuk. Lays it over to Zalapski for Sullivan. Sullivan can't get out as he was checked by Janney. Now Fleury picks up the loose puck. Here comes Fleury with a long shot. That's steered to the corner. The Jets looking to sweep the seasonal series. They won the first 3 by scores of 5-2, 3-2, and 4-1. They haven't played in Winnipeg since the 3rd of December. The most recent meeting, a 4-1 Winnipeg victory on Sunday at the Canadian Airlines Saddledome in Calgary. Well, Terry Simpson felt the 7-1 loss to the San Jose Sharks on March 20th was perhaps one of the most embarrassing times he has ever had behind the bench of any hockey team. But since then, the Winnipeg Jets have taken off. They won 5 of 7. Pierre Pagé told the public relations staff in Calgary to strike the first 2 months out of the record books. He said, I wanted no part of that. We won only 3 games. But then our season turned around on November 26th.
And talking to both coaches this morning, you really got the feeling that this was a playoff-type atmosphere. The pressure is sky high. Both of them, I would say, were pretty quiet the morning skate around.
Brian, did you take the elevator or run the 13th flight?
I got to admit, I took the elevator.
Dave Manson moves it ahead to Darren Shannon. He scored the Jets' first goal, but he has really struggled. The first goal in the season opener against Dallas. He has only 3 for the season, but he's been effective working along the board. McIver from the point throws it back to the net, going into the corner. Shannon and Yanni bump. Now the puck has moved ahead, and Lemieux works his way out to center. He has Marty Murray with him. Murray called up, playing his second game for the Flames, coming up from St. John. He's a native of Deloraine, Manitoba. Shannon dumps it in. Yanni goes back after it. Shannon is in forechecking. He takes Yanni in against the boards. Tverdovsky pinches in from the point, forcing Lemieux to dump it down the end.
Pretty good start to this game for both clubs. Some good hits early, and that's what you want to do to get some of the nervousness out of your system.
Tverdovsky is a young man you saw plenty of in Anaheim. He was part of the Solani trade along with Chad Kilger. And he seems to have regained his confidence since joining the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, he's a terrifically skilled player, tremendous skater. He knows what to do when he gets the puck. If he has any weakness, of course, he said he does not pick his spots properly all the time to jump up and join in the offense.
Tverdovsky pinching in from the point. He manages to keep it in the zone. Albeline plays it around to Huscroft. He whips it around the boards and down the ice. I mentioned that the Winnipeg Jets have won all 3 previous games between these 2 teams, and the third period has been particularly effective for the Jets, where they have outscored the Flames by a 6-0 margin.
Calgary always seems to get off to a pretty good start against Winnipeg. They just haven't been able to maintain leads. In fact, they've led after the first period in 2 of the 3 games. Certainly they're looking for the same kind of start tonight.
Nylander gets in across the line, but Kennedy just a little over anxious, and he is offside. Well, Eddie Olczyk went out of the Winnipeg Jet lineup on March the 7th. He had a knee injury. He has been on injured reserve. It really wasn't expected that Eddie O would be back in the lineup until next week, but he's back one game earlier than anticipated. He is playing with rookie Chad Kilger and the heavyweight Jim McKenzie.
Olczyk inserted into the lineup tonight. You know what, just prior to his injury, he really was on a roll. There's the defensive lineup for the Winnipeg Jets, but Olczyk had 12 points in the previous 6 games just prior to that knee injury. It's going to be tough for him to regain that kind of form immediately.
Zalapski trying to fight off the check of Chad Kilger. His father, Bob, is here watching the game tonight. Bob, a former National Hockey League referee and now a member of Parliament. Puck loose at center ice. McKenzie flips it down into the Calgary zone, races in after it. This could be a delayed icing call, and it is, as the Calgary player Zalapski gets there to touch him ahead of Chad Kilger.
Let's take a look at the Flames starting lineup tonight. You know, we mentioned the fact Gary Roberts not in the Calgary uniform. Mike Sullivan steps onto the big line along with Titov and Fleury. It would be tough to replace the kind of offense that Gary Roberts brings to the table, but this is a pretty well-balanced hockey club. They've been able to deal with an awful lot of it. Very effective team at working the puck out of their own end because their defense is an extremely mobile group.
But they aren't getting as much production from their blue line as they were prior to the Phil Housley trade. Back to the point, chase on shot, bounces off a body to the corner. Titov and Umanen bump there. Up along the boards for Dallas Drake. He frees it for Janney. Janney has Tkachuk breaking with him down the right side. Pass just a little too far for Tkachuk. He goes back to the net. Janney goes in there as well. Zalapski bodies him off the puck. Zalapski trying to get away from Tkachuk. It's played out across the line and batted back in by Jeff Finley.
One of the sure things for the Winnipeg Jets is when they do have Tkachuk out there on the ice, they can't hit him with a direct pass. They'll try and dump it into the corner that he's rushing into. He's the bull. He's the guy that they
stepped into Theron Fleury as the two players were going off on a line change, and that drew a reaction from the fans and also from Fleury. He didn't like the hit from Dallas Drake. Along the boards, Korolev, who has been on a bit of a roll, gets it back to the net. McKenzie or Eastwood, I should say, trying to get it out front. He was checked. He goes down. Eastwood throws it back to the net now. Trent Yanni picks it up. Murray couldn't control it. Shannon takes it back to the net. Shannon trying to free it to Korolev. He wheels and fires a shot that is blocked before it gets to the net. Korolev along the boards again. Continuing to battle. The puck comes free and the Flames start away. Here comes Murray throwing it into the slot area. Lemieux on his backhand couldn't get a shot away. Now he wheels and fires it wide. Korolev picks it up along the right wing boards. He starts away. Tverdovsky initially indicated he was going to jump up into the play. Then he went off to the bench in the change. Korolev in the corner, gets it back to the net for Eastwood. Eastwood tried to get it to the point to McIver, who was pinching in, but it was intercepted by Stern. Stern is pressured, forced back into his own zone, then he dumps it the length of the ice, and this will be an icing call against the Flames. No score with 15:01 left in the first period.
Oh, what a shame. Okay, here we go. Why, thanks, dear. That goes great with watching an opponent take his best shot. Oh, I'm sorry. Must have been someone I ate. Okay. Come to Papa Drag. What? I was stretching. Molson Ultra, 6.2% dry. Wickedly smooth beer.
The job was to build a tough truck. So we put the new F-150 through hard labor and came up with features that work. The only super cab with a standard third door. The only 60/40 split rear bench. More footroom, more headroom, and the only standard dual airbags in its class. We figure if it can handle the punishment from 9 to 5, it should work just fine on weekends. The all-new 1997 Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength.
Theo Fleury's on a bit of a nice streak right now. 6-game scoring streak. 4 goals, 4 assists. Got into a little bit of an altercation with Dallas Drake over by the Winnipeg Met. Look who's standing right beside him, Paul Stewart. Stewart's watching all of this. Watch Theo doing what he does best right here. Just gives him a little jab with the stick. Stewart just kind of looks the other way.
From From the faceoff, Huscroft whips it around the boards and out. Back after it is Norm McIver. McIver has been a most valuable addition for the Jets back on the point, particularly on the power play. Huscroft flips it in deep. Dave Manson is back there having some problems against Dean Evison. Plays it up along the boards, not out. Tommy Albaline fires it high off the glass and it deflects out of play.
You mentioned the point that the Flames defense has not been contributing as much offensively. There's a reason why. They seem to be in a little bit of a hurry to get rid of that puck. Of course, when they know that Sandy McCarthy is on the ice, they're expecting him to get stationed in front of Nikolai Habibulin tonight. And I guess the tempo of the game changes somewhat, and the strategy changes for Pierre Paget's defensive corps.
Paget has to be happy with the production of Sandy McCarthy this year. He has scored 9 goals. That's a career high.
He's also pretty darn good at the other element of his game. He's got to be considered one of the top heavyweights in the league.
In the game in Calgary on the 10th of February, McCarthy and McKenzie went at it a couple of times. 2 pretty good scraps between 2 of the heavyweights in the NHL. And here he comes now, McCarthy down the right side. He lets a long shot go that is blocked by Muni, gets the rebound, and then had some problems handling it. Chases it into the corner, still has some problems picking it up. Paul Cruz having problems there with Muni. The two tie each other up, and Tverdovsky takes it back of his own net. Tverdovsky, under pressure, simply dumps it down the ice.
You know, it really amazes me the difference in the work in the defensive zone of the Winnipeg Jets. This is a club that has only given up 1 goal in 3 of their last 4 contests. So they're cleaning up things on their own end, and the offense is taking care of itself.
But the defensemen are also saying that one of the big differences, the forwards are coming back to help out. Here's Theron Fleury, a wraparound attempt. The puck wound up in skates directly in front of the goal. Titov looking for Fleury, a quick shot and a save by Habibulin. 13:26 remaining in the opening period. It's still scoreless. With an update, here's Scott. Don, in Toronto, the Blues get on the board first on a power play against the Leafs. Shot from the point, stopped by Felix Potvin, but look at Peter Zezel there to convert the rebound at 4:46 of the first. Zezel's 8th of the season, 1-0 St. Louis. And here the Flames have outshot the Jets by a 3-0 margin, but Nikolai Habibulin with a huge save on Theron Fleury keeps the Flames off the score sheet.
Well, Fleury starts all of this with the rush and the wraparound attempt. Mike Sullivan stationed just to the left of Habibulin. Can't get his stick on it. It was a terrific job in front of the net by Tverdovsky tying him up, but then Fleury stays right with it. Takes the feed from behind. Nice pass from Titov.
Teppo Numminen flips it out of the zone. Racing after it is Dallas Drake, but it'll slide all the way down the ice to Tabaracci, and he whips it out of the zone. Kachuk couldn't handle the pass. Zalapsky falls. Kachuk trying to take it away from him. Bumped along the boards. And it's knocked out to center. Chason racing after it. He takes Finlay into the board. Finlay dumps it down the ice into Calgary territory. The Winnipeg Jets get the puck in front of the net, but Kachuk couldn't get to it. And the Flames start back, led by Fleury. Fleury puts on the brakes, looks for some help. Rink wide. Titov shot blocked before it gets to the net. Titov to the point. James Patrick tees it up and fires wide. Chason pinches in from the other point. A weak shot knocked down in front, and the Jets come back. It's Craig Janney in across the line with Kachuk. He feeds it now over onto the wing to Korolev. Korolev shoots and fires wide. McIver is bumped by Fleury as he tried to pinch in from the point. Fleury fires it rink wide, too far for Stillman. Dave Manson sends McIver on his way down the left side. Dumped in for Eastwood. Eastwood taken in against the boards by Chason. Stillman moves it up along the boards for Calgary. Nylander frees it on the left side for Sheldon Kennedy. Drop pass for Nylander. Nylander back to Stillman. Back to Nylander. He gets set. Couldn't get a shot away. Took a little too much time. Shannon was on him. It looked as though Nylander was going to be in perfect position to get a shot away. Here's Stillman firing, and that one is deflected to the corner by Habibulin. Loose puck in the Winnipeg zone, scooped up by Eastwood.
Well, thank goodness one of the Calgary Flame players seemed finally willing to take the shot. They've been passing up opportunities all game long so far.
Nylander again forced back into his own zone by Korolev. Now it's Yanni. Hasn't scored a goal in 2 years, telling the coaching staff this morning after letting a couple of good shots go that he felt this might be his night.
People aren't taking any bets, however.
his own net. The Jets have yet to register a shot on goal. They're getting close to the midpoint of the opening period. First period against Calgary this year for Winnipeg has not been good. They have been dominant, as I mentioned earlier, in the third period. Long shot is held by Habby Bullen with 10:58 remaining in a still scoreless opening period. Calgary and Winnipeg at the Winnipeg Arena.
We wanted the car to have great stance, suggesting power.
We have an all-new 3-liter double overhead cam 4-valve V6 engine called Duratec.
The customer is going to have to spend less on his car to maintain it.
The car is extremely fun to drive, and that's a combination of precise steering, ride control of the car. The driving experience is going to be nothing short of astonishing.
Redesigned, re-engineered, reinvented. The 1996 Ford Taurus.
Achieve 80 DG lets you use as little as 5 gallons of water per acre to knock out wild oats and other grasses in all wheat, durum, and barley. At this rate, you may want to give your water truck driver the rest of the day off. Achieve 80 DG, grass weed control that takes you farther.
Cup champions have been struggling this year, but New Jersey came up with a huge win this afternoon, 6-3 over Hartford to move into a tie for the final playoff position in the East with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Colorado assured of a second-place finish in the West, defeating San Jose this afternoon 5-1.
I think I got to be a little bit concerned for those top teams in the Western and Eastern conferences when they do qualify for the postseason, because they're going to be meeting some teams that are playoff tested. These last 3 or 4 weeks has just been a dogfight for about 10 clubs.
Back to the point to Zalapsky. Zalapsky lets a shot go. It's blocked before it gets to the net. Fraser starts away. Rink wide for Olczyk. He couldn't pick it up. Now Chris King, the captain, fires it back into Calgary territory. Olczyk took a hit as he tried to maneuver his way into the Calgary zone. Now he's going to the bench on the change. As I mentioned earlier, Olczyk back in the lineup for the first time since being injured on the 7th of March. Flipped down the ice. Fraser is racing after it, but coming out of the net to play it, and losing it, they score! Tabaracci trying to play it, put it right onto Fraser's stick. 1-0 Winnipeg on the first shot on goal.
Credit for this goal, but what a terrible sample of puck handling by Rick Tabaracci. You know, he's already had trouble once in the first period. He makes the cardinal sin of going to the backhand. Always a difficult play for the goalkeeper, and Fraser, who's just kind of casually skating to the left of Tabaracci, calmly just swipes it into the net with one hand. Important game for the Calgary Flames, and they cannot afford to have these types of miscues early on.
His first goal as a Winnipeg Jet, Ian Fraser on a backhander at 9:33. And apparently this goal is being reviewed by the video goal judge as Paul Stewart calls upstairs. It looked as though Tabaracci was going to play it to the boards, and he threw it right into the skates of Chason and Ian Fraser. It looked as though Chason had Fraser all tied up, but somehow it appeared as though he got his stick on it to backhand it into an open net.
It's tough to figure out really what is under review at this point, unless there was an offside at the Calgary blue line, because there wasn't much question. It didn't seem that Fraser directed that puck into the net with one hand on his stick. Tabaracci, we talk about the fact the goaltender has that big catching glove on his hand. He loses his grip right down there at the shaft, the stick, and that's exactly what happened to Tabaracci. But the safe play is always to go to the forehand side. A little bit tough for the goalies to manipulate that stick sometimes.
He did get a stick on it, but it is being reviewed. And Paul Stewart continues to listen for the information from the video goal judge's booth upstairs. Ian Fraser waiting anxiously Bradley to find out whether he will be awarded the goal, and Tabaracci is just as anxiously hoping it will not be a goal. While we're waiting, let's go down to Scott for an update from Toronto.
All right, Don, in Toronto, the Leafs are back on even terms with the Blues. Mike Gardner with his 34th of the season. He tucked it into the open side of John Casey's net. Casey must have thought the play was going around the net. 1-1 in Toronto now.
Boy, a couple of strange goals we're witnessing tonight on Hockey Night in Canada.
Yep.
It's taken an awful long time for Paul Stewart to get...
Well, Fraser thought he has scored his first goal as a Winnipeg Jet. Jim Christensen is the supervisor upstairs, who is obviously in communication with Paul Stewart.
I can't really think what the problem would be unless there was some kind of a consideration of a delayed offside, but if that's the case, that is not a reviewable time. I mean, it has to be a disputed goal. It can't be an offside to take a goal away from the Winnipeg Jets. And that's why I'm wondering.
Winnipeg Jets had a goal taken away from them in Colorado on their most recent road trip, and after it was ruled should have been allowed to stand. As it turned out, the Winnipeg Jets won the hockey game anyway, but this is taking a long time for any decision to be handed down as Paul Stewart.
Let's take another look at it. Watch the stick of it goes off his skate, and he manages to just flip it over the goal stick of Tabaracci and into the net. There's no question that he got the stick on that puck. It did not deflect in directly off of the foot.
Well, that angle would seem to indicate that it's very close as to whether or not it did go off the stick. But it is a goal, says Paul Stewart. And Ian Fraser has his first point of the season. The first shot on goal by the Winnipeg Jets. And Fraser scores to make it 1-0 Winnipeg.
You know, there was some surprise this morning when Terry Simpson announced that Ian Fraser was going to be inserted into the lineup ahead of the rookie Chad Kilger. But he felt that Fraser, was a little bit more reliable in the defensive zone, could also play a bit more of a physical.
Fraser had been recalled from Springfield at the American Hockey League on March the 29th. An unassisted goal for Ian Fraser at 9:33 of this opening period. Fleury and Tkachuk battle as they go to the corner. Sullivan attempting to center it, picked up by T-Top. Works his way back to the line now for Sullivan. Sullivan trying to maneuver into position is checked. Fleury lets a shot go it wide. Picked up by Yanni. Yanni fires a shot off the leg. It deflects towards the net. And Harvey Bullen holds it for the faceoff.
Calgary doing an outstanding job of cycling that puck down low. What they do so effectively is they start setting picks for one another. They try to create a little bit more space, and then quick as a blink, all of a sudden one player is sprung out and he walks directly into that. But watch what the Flames do. If there's no play, they just keep chipping it back into the corner. They get a little bit of a rotation going. Fleury takes the one blast. Notice also the number of red. Assistant coach Guy Lapointe, he said the one thing we have to do against Harvey Bullen is get some traffic. We recognize that he's on a roll right now, so we want to impair his vision whenever possible. The other thing they recognize with Harvey Bullen is that he does give a lot of rebounds, but they have to be willing to spend a little bit of time in the slot area if they're going to cash them in. Here's the Hall of Famer Guy Lapointe right there.
And Don Hay, the other Calgary assistant coach, on the bench. Flips it up along the boards. The Jets now trying to move out. Clearing attempt is blocked. McCarthy tries to slide it into the slot area. It goes right to the goal mouth, and Harvey Bullen covers up. Paul Cruz was there in slot area from the corner. He and Manson have an exchange of words. 9:40 the time remaining here in the first period. 1-0 Winnipeg.
Rorator Pharmaceuticals. They needed it now.
Have there been any side effects?
Yes, sir. A few side effects. Is this the result we're looking for?
5 guys.
Get out of my head!
Multiple personalities. One movie.
The handcuffs, totally necessary, officer.
That was your husband's idea.
Kids in the Hall. Brain Candy. Starts Friday.
Got the draw back to the point to Albaline. He was checked by Olczyk, couldn't get a shot away. Now Manson flips it around to an open corner. Huscroft pinches in from the point. It goes back of the net by Javi Bullen.
Nice play by Javi Bullen. He just gets down low with the paddle of that goal stick right along the ice. He's relying on his defenseman at this point to prevent any kind of opportunity where they can follow through on the shot and get the puck up in the air.
Ryan, you had an interesting chat this morning with the Jets goaltending coach, Pete Peters.
Well, Pete Peters was saying that he figures he's helped Javi Bullen a lot, but not from a technical standpoint. He says that he has worked under he works a lot harder in practice, but he's better able to handle the pressure of playing game in and game out. That's pretty impressive. He's just a youngster still, only 23 years old, got a tremendous future.
He has 24 wins. He is 6 games above 500 on a team that is 4 games below 500. Out front, and it's knocked back of the net. Craig Muni can't move it along the boards. Dean Evison to Cruz. Calgary applying all sorts of pressure. Here's Sandy McCarthy trying to move past Tverdovsky, still on his skates out front. It's loose at the side of the net. Now back to the Winnipeg goal, and finally Tverdovsky picks it up. We've got a scrap going on. Chris King is involved with Jamie Huscroft. Huscroft landed a solid left hand. Now King trying to free his left. Attempted to take King down, and then King dodged a wild left hand. But Huscroft is continuing to land some punches. Now King trying to throw a left hand. Huscroft is getting some pretty good shots in, and now King takes him down, and as they go down, King lands an uppercut.
Pretty good bout. I think Chris King was a little bit surprised when Jamie Huscroft started throwing lefts right at the beginning. Seemed to really get the jump on him, but he's such a strong boy, he come back strong.
8:55 remaining in the first period. Winnipeg leads 1-0.
If I listen long enough to you, to catch your dreams and believe in what you can do, knowing all our lives we've tried, you and I, credit unions and a reason to believe.
Drop into today's credit unions.
What makes a Dairy Queen frozen Easter cake so special? Because it's all dressed up with our finest treat, delicious Dairy Queen chocolate and vanilla soft serve. Plus, there's a layer of chocolate fudge and chocolate crunch. But the icing on the cake is you can get it decorated our way or your way. Dairy Queen makes Easter dinner dessert a piece of cake.
Back at the Winnipeg Arena, King and Huscroft in the penalty box with 5-minute fighting majors. The delay on the review of the goal by Ian Fraser was all about this. The officials upstairs had to look long and hard to find a replay that proved the puck was put into the net off of Fraser's stick and was not kicked in. It took them a while to find it, but eventually they did, and so the goal is stood, and it's 1-0 Jets, Don.
Winnipeg leads 1-0 on the Fraser goal, but there has been a significant territorial edge in play for Calgary, Ryan.
Well, the strategy for the Flames is simply to get that puck in deep and work the area around the boards and behind that Winnipeg net. It's been very effective.
Steve Chason out to center to corner. Zalapsky is back after it. Tkachuk pressuring him, the puck at the side of the net, and Tkachuk trying to jam away at it, but it's covered up by the pad of Tabarachi.
Boy, another mistake almost cost the Calgary Flames. That time it was Arlie Zalapsky that had that puck poked off his stick by Tkachuk. Tabarachi had no idea where it was, and it was about 1.5 feet away from the goal line.
We've talked about Keith Tkachuk and the fact he has 48 goals this year and might now be the premier power forward in the National Hockey League. I thought Perry Fern, an assistant coach with the Jets, had an interesting comment. He said this morning, you may be able to take the puck away from Tkachuk, but you can't knock Tkachuk off the puck.
Well, he's a bull. Come out from in front of the net. We talked about the effectiveness of him teaming up with Craig Janney. I mean, Janney knows where he's going to be all the time.
Fleury with a shot that almost fooled Javi Bullen. Now the Jets start back, 2-on-1. Drake and Janney. Drake moving in over to Janney, and he fired it wide. Tkachuk bangs it around the board. Drake looking for Tkachuk out front, intercepted by Zalapsky. Comes back to the point. Newmanen for Tkachuk, in for Drake. Drake takes it back of the net, being pestered by Fleury out front. Was looking for Tkachuk. Tkachuk was knocked down. out against Finlay. Now it's Sullivan knocking it out to center ice, picked up by Jeff Finlay. Finlay takes his time before dumping it to the corner. The Jets make a complete change.
You know, one of the other things that really makes that Janney-Tkachuk combination effective is that they've got Teppo Numminen out on the ice with them most of the time. He's so mobile, he keeps a lot of loose pucks in there and allows them to get in on the forecheck.
Dave Manson keeps it in at the line. Now it's Chad's zone. McKenzie races after it. He bumps with Calgary's number 33, Zalapski. The puck is played around to the other side. Olt goes through traffic. Centered by Oltmans with Stillman. Managed to knock it down, preventing Stillman from breaking away. Puck fired the length of the ice by the Flames to relieve the pressure with 6:58 remaining in this opening period. The Jets on their most recent shift applying more pressure to the Flames.
Now get a 28-point spring checkup for your car, featuring oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a free jug of washer fluid, all for just $24.99. Only at Canadian Tire.
Winnipeg Jets have 3 19-year-olds in their lineup: Shane Doan, Chad Kilger, and Oleg Tverdovsky. I think that's quite a compliment not only to the 3 players, but the job the coaching staff has done with the rookies this year. Although Tverdovsky isn't a legitimate rookie.
He's not a legitimate rookie, but especially in Tverdovsky's case, they really credit the assistant coach, Bill Yeletinoff. I'm only going to say that once. They call him Coach Bill around here. Toward his confidence, so critical to the young player. Hard to believe he's only 19. He does possess tremendous skills.
He's a great skater and a great puck handler. And with the Jets, he has been given a little more freedom to jump up into the play. He was saying he's not reluctant to jump up into the play either, because if he does get caught, he feels he is such a good skater that he can get back. Off the boards for Eastwood. Eastwood trying to go around Chason. Takes it back to the net, looking out front. Picked up by Korolev. Korolev is checked. The puck comes to the line, and Lemieux chops it out to center. 6:16 remaining in the first period. Winnipeg leading Calgary 1-0. Here comes Marty Murray. Murray puts on the brakes. A shot fired wide. Korolev along the boards. Moves it ahead for Eastwood. Eastwood looking for Shannon. It bounced away from him. The Jets make a change as Tommy Albaline brings it back in. Over to Stern. Long shot gloved by Happy Bullen, and he'll hold it for a faceoff.
Not a lot of difficulty for Happy Bullen. Pretty routine save. Craig Janney is a guy who already in this game has showed that he is perhaps willing to trade opportunities. And of course, when you have the offensive talents of Craig Janney, you know, it's kind of the way he's always played in this league. And as long as he has the supporting cast around him, Janney can be a very effective player. But part of the reason why he's minus 32 is because he did not have that supporting cast in San Jose. And I mentioned the fact that Teppo Numminen is a guy who keeps a lot of loose pucks in the zone. That did not happen in San Jose. The Shark defense was not that mobile.
Just missed. It slides right on Tabarachi, and Tabarachi wisely decides to cover it up for a face-off and make the play that led to the first goal.
Well, I'm sure that that first goal had an awful lot to do with Tabarachi not afford to make another mistake like that one, especially when you got a guy like Tkachuk breathing down your neck. To talk about Rick Tabarachi, he was benefited from an awful lot of support. You know, him and Trevor Kidd have probably played equally as well. Tabarachi has the much more impressive statistics, however, because the Flames have actually scored 5 or more goals in the game 9 times when he's been tending goal. They've only done that once for Trevor Kidd.
Finley's shot is right on, and it's covered up by Tabarachi with Tkachuk looking for a rebound. Well, Tabarachi played goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Trevor Kidd is the backup tonight. He's one of a half-dozen Manitobans on the Calgary roster. Patrick Fleury, Everson, Kennedy, and Marty Murray are the others. So there's quite a Winnipeg connection with this, or Manitoba connection with this Calgary Flame team. Fleury is doing a good job of tying Janney up. Now Finlay pinches in from the buddy there, and Fleury starts back for Calgary. And behind the play, there's going to be a penalty call.
I think this penalty is going to be against Mike Sullivan, who was actually holding up even it up. Yes, indeed, he has. So the teams will skate 4-on-4 for the next couple of minutes.
5:22 remaining in the opening period. Tkachuk and Sullivan. On Sullivan, he took a swipe at him, and Paul Stewart said, "You're both going."
Right off the bat, face-off, you see Tkachuk right immediately go into T-top, but look at Janney all tied up by Theo Fleury. Fleury was grabbing him, hooking him, holding him, keeping Craig Janney away from the net and certainly prevent him from getting the puck in behind your own net. There's a good likelihood that you'll keep him off the score sheet.
Sullivan for slashing, Tkachuk for hooking at 14:33. Shots on goal favoring Calgary, 11-5, but the Jets have the only goal scored by Ian Fraser by Rick Tabaracci. Along's block, picked up by Nylander. Nylander in across the line, behind his back for Zalapski, too far for him. Puck is loose at the side of the net, picked up by Manson. He starts away with Olchuk. The two of them crossing the new line. McIver back at the point, dumps it behind the net for Korolev. Korolev plays it to an open wing, picked up by Janney. Janney sidesteps the check, the puck goes to Korolev. Korolev drops it off for Manson. Manson trying to work into position to shoot. He's checked, the puck is dumped out, and racing after it is Nylander. Newman trying to cut him off. Nylander on his backhand, he's checked. The puck goes to James Patrick, and he fires it wide. Now it's Manson coming out from behind his own net. He gets it ahead to Newman. Newman up on the wing to Janney. Drake moving up in the play, takes the drop pass back for Janney, and it was broken up neatly by Albeling. Fleury comes back for Calgary. Fleury drops it off into the slot area, broken up, and Drake starts away again for Winnipeg. Drake over to Finlay. Finlay trying to work around T-top. Finlay is taken in against the boards. The puck in among skates. Finally, it's flipped back to the net, and going after it is James Patrick with 3:44 remaining in the period.
I don't think equal situation. Both clubs getting their defense very actively involved. Both of them, I think, taking a couple of pretty good risks.
Fleury's shot is kicked to the corner. Tverdovsky lost it to Stillman. Stillman trying to move out from the corner. The penalized players are back on the ice. Picked up now by Shannon. Shannon works his way to the blue line. Lead pass for Tkachuk. Tkachuk going in. Excellent feed to Keith Tkachuk, and Tabaracci responded. Tverdovsky whips it around the board. Shannon will fire it out to center. Here's the lead. Tabaracci, the loose puck. Tabaracci has lost his helmet, and he covers up Keith Tkachuk, and then Eastwood, and Tabaracci stopped the move, but also took the rebound away from Tkachuk.
This is one of the few cod fishermen left in Newfoundland. What he brings up in his nets will determine if cod will ever again be fished off these shores. Watch Sentinel Fisheries Sunday on Country Canada.
Behind the scenes. Ahead of its time. Venture for the best stories from the world of business. Sunday evenings at 10:29. CBC Current Affairs.
Close to 1 million windshields are replaced each year in Canada. Thousands of those are installed improperly.
Probing.
Salmon fishing now costs far more than it's worth.
Analytical.
Good evening, I'm Milton Nash. In tonight's documentary,
surprising.
The 90s ideal of being fit and healthy could well be contributing to infertility.
CBC Current Affairs. Beyond the headlines.
Rick Tabaracci has really redeemed himself here. Here's the first stop. Tabaracci comes out well out in front of that goal crease, and just seconds later, Mike Eastwood was streaking down the center of the ice. He was in all alone on Tabaracci, forces Eastwood to go to the backhand. A brilliant save. He also makes a stop on the rebound as well.
So it's still 1-0. The shots on goal now 12-7. Calgary leading Winnipeg in that department, but the Flames giving up 2 breakaway opportunities to the Jets. Craig Muni's long shot kicked out by Tabaracci, and then the puck is fed right back to him. He holds it for a faceoff. Not in the lineup of the Calgary Flames tonight is Gary Roberts. Gary is back in Calgary watching tonight's contest. And Gary, on Wednesday night against the Vancouver Canucks, you took a couple of pretty solid hits. And the last one from Adrian O'Coin that put you into the goalpost, What is the extent of your problem?
Well, I'd say that right now I'm just having some discomfort, some stiffness, and I'm hoping that it's just short term right now. I'm taking a couple days off, not traveling on this trip, and hoping to resume practice on Tuesday and maybe play later in the week.
Now, the doctors have said that you can continue to play?
Well, right now it's all up in the air, guys. I'm just kind of sitting back, trying to be positive for a couple days and just regroup and think about my future. Whether or not I can go back out there or not will all be determined in the next 3 or 4 days.
Gary, you've taken a couple of pretty good shots in the neck this season since you did return. Can you compare this level of discomfort to the shots you took earlier?
Well, I'd say it's not the same as discomfort I was feeling earlier on, but definitely there's enough concern there where the neck's stiff. I've lost my range of motion, and we've gone through a standard of tests every week that I have to pass in order for me to play, and right now I'm not passing those tests. Calgary, I can't say enough about them. They've been great with me, and if it is, then I'll resume practicing Tuesday, and if it's not, then it may be longer term.
If and when the decision is made to return, will that be yours or the medical staff?
Well, I think it'll be a combination of both, but obviously I've been through a lot in the last year and a half, and it'll be probably a family decision before I go back and return to play.
Gary, we hope it all works out well for you.
Guys, thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Gary. Gary Roberts not in the lineup of the Calgary Flames tonight, and we sincerely hope that he is able to return to the Calgary lineup soon. Boy, what a year he has had since returning on the 10th of January.
It really has been a remarkable comeback. And the one thing that Pierre Pagé mentioned before tonight's game was, you know, they haven't been counting on him all season, and the team has been prepared mentally for the situation to come about that hasn't, in fact, happened. And that is, they're going to have to deal with the fact that they cannot count on Gary Roberts being in the lineup every game.
Well, Gary Roberts had played in 35 games and had scored 22 goals prior to missing this trip. Coming up during the first intermission, as always, Don Cherry and Coach's Corner. And I'm sure, as usual, Grapes will have some interesting comments about what has been going on over the past week in the National Hockey League. He's always a favorite here in Winnipeg, and he really endeared himself to Winnipeg hockey fans when he made the trek out here last May to the Save the Jets rally, when it looked as though all was lost, and momentarily it seemed the franchise had been resurrected when he showed up here at the Winnipeg Arena for what many thought was the final farewell. He received a tremendous ovation.
Kind of a strange feeling in this building tonight. Second, almost sense some remorse in the crowd at times.
It'll be even stranger on Friday when they play their final regular season home game against the Los Angeles Kings. Many people bought tickets well in advance in anticipation that it would be Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings playing here. Jamie Huscroft dumps it to the corner. Norm McIver being pressured by Lemieux, throws it along the boards to Fraser. Fraser gets it out to center ice. Now it's picked up by Albeling. Fraser watching him. Huscroft coming out of his own zone. 1:18 remaining in the first period. Long shot flipped in by on Habby Bullen. Manson leaves it back to the net. Picked up there by Nylander out front. Stern is robbed and then stopped again by Habby Bullen. Stern, who scored the winning goal Wednesday in the 4-3 triumph over Vancouver, had the best Flames chance in this opening period to get Calgary on the board.
Well, all of Calgary's success in this initial 20-minute period has been down low, pressuring those Winnipeg defense, but they've forced several turnovers. A bang-bang play. The feed comes out to Stern. Brilliant save by Habby Bullen. Look at the mobility, though, of Nikolai as he bounces right back up on his feet, gets himself into position. Ronnie Stern is a guy that the defensemen hear footsteps whenever he's on the ice. He was in on the forecheck. That's what forced Manson to cough it up in the first place. Then he circled right back, went directly to the net, as all forwards should do.
Stern missed 21 games this year with a shoulder injury. He's been back for the last 11. And what a huge goal he had by the Flames. They were down at 1 point, 3-0. 1:03 remaining in the first period. Here the line for Yanni. Yanni works his way in, throws it in front. Nylander couldn't find the handle. Comes up to the line, and Tkachuk. Lemieux being pressured there by Tkachuk. He was looking for Stern, too far for him. Newman flips it around the boards. Finlay being pressured. Lemieux is on top of him. Finally, the puck comes free to Tkachuk. Tkachuk pushes it ahead to Janney. Janney works his way in across the line. Back to Tkachuk. Tkachuk moving in front. Big save. Great the rebound. Tabaracci grabs that. The puck lays loose in the crease. Back to the point. McIver gets it over to Manson. He shoots. He fires wide. Oh, the Jets have had some great opportunities to add to their 1-0 lead here in the first period. Tkachuk has had 2 great opportunities.
It's amazing what Keith Tkachuk, a guy the size of Tkachuk, can really do in close quarters. Another brilliant sequence for Tabaracci, because Tkachuk was in all alone. Tabaracci just stood his ground.
Tkachuk and Craig Janney have really meshed, almost from San Jose, that sent Darren Turcotte to San Jose.
Well, there you saw Tkachuk. He walked right around James Patrick. And, you know, I talked to Terry Simpson about the relationship between Janney and Tkachuk, and he said, you know, they really do have a bond out there on the ice, but he says, I got to give most of the credit to Tkachuk because he has really stepped up his level of play in the last month and a half. Almost since the Solani deal, Keith Tkachuk became the leader of this hockey team, definitely on the ice, and I think off the ice as well.
Well, it's at Boston.
That's right.
5.2 seconds remaining in the period. At one point, there was a 9-2 differential in shots favoring Calgary. It's now 16 quality scoring chances.
And the other thing we should point out about Tkachuk, he's scored 30 of his 48 goals since January 1st, so obviously he's really stepped it up a notch.
Well, they look for someone to assume a leadership role, and he certainly has for the Winnipeg Jets. And the Winnipeg Jets will leave for the dressing room or 1-0 on the goal by Ian Fraser. Coming up next, Don Cherry and Coach's Corner.